Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and joining me today to analyse a tremendous victory for United at Old Trafford, making 3 wins in a row, is Chris Nugent. How's it going, Chris?
Not too bad, Kyle. Not too bad. I feel a wee bit guilty because I haven't been on for a while, and people are going to think that I'm only on because we had a nice result last night. But I can promise that's not the case. But yeah, happy man today.
Yeah, I can assure everybody it's just a coincidence that Chris is suddenly coming on when United have got a run of form going. Uh, he- for anyone who's familiar with the Beyond the Pitch podcast, Chris is like the Martin Wahlberg of this podcast, where he's a very busy man and he isn't as available as much as we'd like him to be. But he's here today, and what a time to come on, Chris! What a performance last night.
Absolutely delighted, Kyle. Delighted. Yep. And yeah, purely a coincidence, but I'm glad to be on today. And it's nice to feel we can talk about something positive for what feels like it's been a while. But obviously, yeah, we're things are looking pretty decent in the league at the moment. 3 wins on the bounce. Yeah, couldn't be happier. And it was just enjoyed the game. Never mind the result. I enjoyed the game. It was nice to watch. The team played really well. So yeah, always just makes it easier to come and have a chat whenever things are good.
And two players that are making it really enjoyable are Mbumo and Kuna. And Kuna is just a maverick. Not only is he bringing now goals and assists and work rate, but entertainment as well. Just the Brazilian flair and finesse. Mbumo is just a match winner for United. We've seen him score at Anfield. We've seen him getting two more in this game. Quality finishes. And sorry, his first touch, it reminds me of Berbatov. It is absolutely unreal. Um, these two players, like down the years, we've had attacking partnerships that have really excited the fans. You know, we've had York and Cole, we've had Rooney and Ronaldo, we've had Cantona and Hughes. I don't want to make comparisons, but uh, these two in 2025 and going forward could really be another attacking partnership that we'll be talking about in 20 years as just being sensational for United.
100%. It definitely starts to look that way. And that's it. And I think maybe it was on Match of the Day. I think last night they mentioned about how they seem to gel, and I think that's what it is. Kai, you're saying with those good partnerships, I feel like it's not just about kind of tactics or about positional play. It's about the two people almost like being mentally in sync and knowing what the other person's kind of going to do. And I feel like we're already starting to see the signs of that. Like you said, that these two, they play well together. Yeah, and just the team generally looks a bit more together at the moment. And I think that's great. And yeah, Cunha, yeah, he scored an unbelievable goal. I mean, great first touch, his left foot, absolutely incredible finish with his right. But even earlier in the game, showing the signs as he did before he got injured early in the season, bright, confident, on the front foot, wants to take a chance, wants to have a go, not playing it safe, not doing the simple thing all the time, happy to, like you said, bit of flair, wanting to kind of make something happen. I just love seeing that, and he has got that all day long. And in Buemo, again, yeah, for so long, how long have we been saying that we need somebody who can take chances? Games we've dominated in the past, and not to cast aspersions on players we had before, like Hoyland or whatever, but not finishing. Oh no, I need to finish that. And Brumo is just like, nah, he's gonna stick that in the back of the net, rocket it into the back of the net, and that just makes all the difference. Yeah, loving seeing these guys playing together. It's just brilliant.
And they're really taking the pressure off the centre forward. When Hoyland was here, he there's so much onus on him to deliver the goals. We're not seeing that with Shesko at the moment. Shesko's doing okay. He's not prolific just yet. Um, but these two obviously are experienced Premier League players, and we brought them in at 25, 26. And that's the right thing to do. We need ready-made stars, and that's what we've done. The recruitment has been excellent in the last couple of summer windows, and these players really fit the system as well. And they're just delivering the goods. They're getting better week on week. Mambumo was playing well without the goals, and same as Kuna. Kuna's performance at Anfield was just everything you'd want, apart from the goals and assists. But we knew the goal was going to come at some point, and it was brilliant the way he uses his left foot to set himself up, and then he uses the defender to blindside the goalkeeper, and he curls it perfectly right into the corner. No goalkeeper in the world is going to save that. And I think we kind of get lucky with these two as well, in that the United fans, because as everyone knows, we finished in the bottom half last season, and well down the table, and people were worried about how we're going to attract players in the summer. And these players were wanted by Champions League clubs, but these two players made it clear that they support Man United and was their dream to play for Man United. So we've kind of got fortunate that way, haven't we, Chris?
100%, 100%. I know you and I have said it at times offline, Kyle, about the Fergie effect, still reaping some dividends. That these guys, yeah, exactly. Growing up when things were better for us, and that has been the thing that seems to have got these deals over the line when guys could have went elsewhere. Yeah, I think it's in some ways it's I sort of hoped earlier in the season and before the season started, should I say, and it didn't pan out earlier in the season. That not having Champions League could end up being of benefit, where the guys get more time to gel, more time on the training pitch, and I'm hoping that that's starting to come to fruition now. So it may end up being the blessing skies that we kind of hoped that it would be. But like you said, Kyrie, those guys could have been playing Champions League football, but thankfully, yeah, it seems that their love for Man United is the thing that got these deals done, and I also think an extra positive about that is for too many years the recruitment was about buying the big name and often throwing money at players who were not performing at the levels they previously had been. So kind of guys who are almost done, or just generally giving money, hand over fist to players and clubs for players that just weren't really good enough. But those get and then we seeing that play out in their performances. The fact that these guys want to play for Man United is another thing that makes them play well, because they're playing for the badge. And that was ready made, built into these guys. You didn't have to hope that would happen because they actually love Man United. So I think in every way that has worked out to our benefit. So yeah, long may it continue.
Yeah, and we wondered last season why we were losing games, the likes of Brentford and Wolves. But now we can see why, because Kuna and Mbumo are that good, and we had players like Garnacho, Anthony, Sancho, and these players just aren't on the level of these two. These are a level up from what we've been used to in recent seasons. Just absolutely delighted that they're at this club, and it's so exciting. I'm looking forward to the games every week now. I used to dread every game. It used to be a chore almost going out to watch matches. Now it's really exciting, and you know, used to be after a defeat last season, we'd all be getting our taxis as soon as the final whistle went. Now we're staying on for a couple of hours to chat about the game and chat about how we're looking forward to the next game, and having the crack and everything else. So such a massive difference to the morale now. We got that win against Sunderland, who, by the way, are still second in the table. That's not to be sniffed at. That's a United won that really comfortably, and Sunderland are second. Beat Chelsea yesterday away from home. Then we beat Liverpool away. We've waited 10 years to win that fixture. So we got rid of that hoodoo. And then Brighton have won 6 of the last 7 matches against United before yesterday, and we went 3-0 up against them, and we chucked it away a wee bit when the substitutes came on. They weren't quite at the same level as the starters, and there were some silly goals given away. Well, particularly the goal from the corner when Joshua Zirkzee didn't pick up his man properly, and then Wilbeck scored a quality free kick, and question marks over whether that was a free kick or not, to be honest. Um, and then we just went Mabumo, just another clinical finish. Then after that, Bruno Fernandes will not be credited with the assist, but the dummy for me
You
is an
should.
assist.
I agree. Funny, I thought exactly that as a Wassa. I thought that should go down as an assist. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a shame that it won't be. You're right. That was 100% an assist in my book. Unbelievable vision and awareness from him. Like to read that, absolutely perfect. And you love seeing those two, and you just know that is a defender's nightmare, because they're gonna look expecting a touch and then just completely blindsides. It's the perfect assist, really. Yeah, brilliant.
yeah, and he takes a wee look over to his left, so he's very aware of where Mbeumo is, and he just leaves it for him. And yeah, that's an experienced player right there, and a very intelligent player who does that. And what that the finish was just absolutely clinical. And then it blew the net off.
I love
And
it.
and the arrogance of him, he doesn't even properly celebrate. He just goes like this here, as if what else do you expect?
Exactly. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, no, brilliant. Yeah, like I said, it was just an absolute rocket of a finish, and even his earlier one as well, where he sticks it through the defender's legs. I love seeing that, and you just when you see that, you know that again, that's a real experienced striker. You know, striker where somebody like basically waits for the defender to open their legs and puts it right there because they know again it makes it more difficult for the goalkeeper to read it. And also just the fact that whenever you're playing against good defenders and they've covered their left and covered their right, they can't cover in the middle, and that's just again just shows his absolute quality. Like, yeah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant finisher.
And what about the way Mbumo kills the ball when someone plays a crossfield ball to him, and he just kills it instantly and skins his man almost in one motion? Just unbelievable to watch that. It was like watching Berbatov again.
Absolutely, no, he's class, and that's it. I can't remember how many he scored last season, but I know he finished in what was it, the top maybe three strikers in the league last season at Brentford. I mean, that just shows the quality. There was no doubt about his quality.
Yeah, 20 league goals he got last season, and some people were saying in the summer that they don't expect him to get 20 league goals for United, but he just might, the way he started this season. And
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I don't think it's off the table by any means.
And I think this front line could get better once they start to build up a chemistry with Shesko. Not quite there yet. He's doing okay. I like him. He's a nice feet and he holds the ball up well. He wins flick-ons and he's obviously scored a couple of goals in other games. He missed a chance yesterday and with his left foot that he missed the target and perhaps should have done better. But I think uh, things will get better for Sesko once he builds up more of a chemistry with Kuna and Mbumo, and he'll get more opportunities. At the minute he's only getting one or two in a game, but his overall play is really good and I'm pleased with him. I think the attributes that he has really suits the Premier League as well. He's 6'5". He's physical, and as I say, he can hold it up. He's got nice feet, and he's going to score plenty of headers. I feel so. I think, as I've said a few times before, Hoyland is suited to Serie A, as we can see how well he's doing out there. And Shesko for me is suited to the Premier League, but not quite clinical at the moment. But I think the goals will come definitely.
Totally agree, and I think you made the point you made earlier is really important as well, Kyle. That the pressure's off him, and I think that is a definite bonus for him. That he actually does have the time to settle in because he's got Mbumo and Cunha and Fernandez and that around him. Taking the pressure off him in terms of delivering goals and assists. So it's given him that time to get used to the pace and the physicality of the Premier League. And I agree with you. He looked ready made for the Premier League. His physicality, as you mentioned, 6'5". He's not going to struggle against any big defenders or anything, and that's good. Yeah, and obviously United scouted him for a long time, so clearly, the recruitment at Manchester United clearly felt for a number of years that he was the right type of player. So yeah, I think he will come good, and as you said, he's contributing plenty. He's just not contributing goals yet. But they'll definitely come. Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, of course he got off the mark against Brentford, and then he scored against Sunderland from that long throw. But hopefully he'll get a couple more in the next few games. But as you said, the pressure is off him with the quality players around him. And Ahmad is almost really sacrificed himself this season to play in a right wing back role. And I'm sure if he had to pick a role for himself, it would be where Mbumo was playing. But he's playing further back. But still, he's contributing massively. Doing a lot of the dog work, which you have to do as a wing back. But also when he gets forward, he's got great pace and great skill and could go past people very easily. And we saw that when he probably should have had a penalty. Um, you know, the referee felt and the VAR felt as if there was a slight touch on the ball, but to me, um, I mean, it's hard to even notice it. You have to watch it about 1,000 times to notice the defender's touch on the ball. But he absolutely takes Ahmad out. Now, like it seems to be a new directive this season that if you get any touch on the ball, no matter how slight, and you can clatter into someone afterwards, then they're not going to give a penalty. I've seen that in the Arsenal Newcastle game as well. Um, but and that's apparently that's the way it was in the 80s as well. and they've gone back to this season for some reason after doing the opposite for so long. But to me, it's very strange that if you can get the slightest touch on the ball, you can almost touch the ball with your stud and then clatter somebody and take them out, and it's not a penalty. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with you. When I first saw it and even saw a replay once or twice, I thought that's a Stonewall penalty. He hasn't touched the ball. And but like you said, you watch it a few times, you go, all right, okay, I can kind of see the most minimal of touches on the ball. Yeah, I agree with you, Kyle. I mean, yeah, yeah, it's that rule that, like you said, was in the 80s, where, oh, if you got a bit of the ball, you can just take the man on the ball and go clean through him. But I mean, it does feel a bit like it's not right whenever the touch is so minimal. It's different when you get all the ball and all of the man. That feels like, okay, you definitely got the ball and the man. But whenever you basically mostly just get the man and just about touch the ball, it feels like it's just on the wrong side of that. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you would say if the game had finished 0-0, or if we got beat and that was the deciding moment, you'd still have felt, even if it is a rule, you'd have felt really, really aggrieved by it. Luckily, it didn't turn out to matter last night. But yeah, I'm with you. It just feels like, yeah, when you get that minimal touch on the ball, it feels like it should be a penalty. But yeah, the rules are the rules.
And I thought the referee had a really poor game overall, and he's supposed to be the best referee in the league, or one of two of the best referees. And he's a UEFA referee as well. You see him at the World Cup and the Champions League and all the rest. But uh, I didn't agree with the decision where Dorgu, it was a coming together really. And the reason, and the referee gave a foul and he booked Dorgu, rather, and the Brighton manager wanted the red card because he was the last man. But you can clearly see that the ball was just going to trickle through to Lemens and he was just going to pick it up. So that's why the red card wasn't given. But to me, it wasn't even a foul. It was just a coming together. Like, Dorgu did not intentionally try to take him out there. And I know, I understand the referee only gets one look at it, but then the VAR can overturn, apparently, yellow card. No, wait, he could overturn. He could decide to give a red, but I suppose he can't decide not to give a free kick. The VAR, in fairness, um, but to be fair to Danny Welbeck, it was a cracking free kick. I wouldn't place too much blame on the goalkeeper. I know it wasn't right in the corner, but it was moving in the air. And it was well struck, wasn't it? Danny Welbeck has a knack for scoring against United, but thankfully it didn't matter much on this occasion, Chris.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said there, Kyle. Yeah, so it was definitely coming together. When I first seen it, immediately in real time, I thought, "Oh no, this could be a red here." Immediately, and then when you saw it again, you realize he's lost the ball, and actually, it was coming together. Not really a foul in a way. And then you go, "Oh, well, do you know what? Actually, no. A yellow at the absolute most, maybe not a yellow at all. Per se, maybe not even a foul at all." Um, but yeah, credit to Danny Welbeck. I mean, I have to say, it was a cracking free kick. I didn't know Danny Welbeck could take free kicks like that. Fair play to him. Like, I mean, yeah, and it's hard to dislike Danny Welbeck, if I'm honest. Obviously he's a United man at heart, and United let him go, and he's the top pro and still doing really well. So if it had to be anybody scoring, and considering it didn't matter, it wasn't the worst thing to see Welbeck score. Yeah, and Nick, you said there too, Kai. When I first saw it, I thought, could the keeper have done a wee bit better there? He didn't get enough on it really. But it is a good free kick. If you notice as well, the Brighton guys are standing right in that spot in the wall. Obviously, they've rehearsed doing it that way, and they just move apart as soon as the ball comes. So the keeper probably didn't have that much time to see it. So look, you have to give credit. It's a good free kick by Brighton, well worked, and by Welbeck. So yeah, I don't think it would be too harsh on the goalkeeper. Yeah.
But the goalkeeper had another really good game overall. Coming out and collecting crosses, something so basic as that we've been starved of for so long, and we're so happy to see it. The crowd cheers now whenever the goalkeeper comes out and collects a corner, or collects a high ball. And he made a couple of decent saves as well. And there was a long range effort which he pushed out to the side that was going in the corner. He saved a left-footed cross from the right wing, which obviously Dallo didn't do anything to close down as usual. I was going to go straight in without anybody touching it, but he tipped it around the post. But the touch that he got with his right hand was so slight that the referee gave a goal kick because he didn't think that he touched it. But when you see the replay, you realize it's a really good save. But yeah, he just brought a lot more composure to the back line. A lot, probably it gives the back three a lot more confidence, knowing that, and it makes them feel a lot more secure with a goalkeeper that does the basics so well. And we the goalkeeper situation the last couple of seasons has just been chaotic. That I think that's the right word. Where in the last 3 games, it's been the complete opposite. It's just calmness and composedness, if that's a word. It's
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that is a word, Kai, but I'll have to look it up. You're starting to make your own. You're starting to make your own words up now, Flip, man. Because is this
no,
how this is going? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I wholly agree with everything that you've said there. Yeah, it makes such a difference. To the whole team. I feel like maybe we discussed this the last time I was on. But yeah, I think that whenever a goalkeeper isn't playing well, it's not just when the ball comes to him that you worry about it. You worry about it, kind of all the time, or you feel like the team worries about it, should I say, all the time, because the defenders then don't feel confident, which means that they start making rash decisions to stop the ball getting to the goalkeeper because they're worried about what's going to happen when it does. So it just, I think that sort of lack of confidence can permeate throughout the entire back line when the keeper's not playing well and he's not confident. But Lamans has been an absolute breath of fresh air, like you said. I think it's when you don't notice the goalkeeper, he's done a good job, and that's the thing. He does all the basics really well. Good saves, coming out and collecting the ball well. His distribution's good. He's just an all around really really solid goalkeeper. Like you're saying, and it's I think it's been a massive upgrade on what we had before on Onana, and I think that it's not just like I say what he's doing between the sticks. It's the fact that he gives confidence in the back line, which helps everybody play a bit better. So yeah, brilliant.
yeah, and he's just such a young guy. I mean, he's only had one full season as Antwerp's number 1 goalkeeper, and then coming straight into play for Man United. His second game was at Anfield, and it's like he's been there for years. Uh,
Yeah,
I think the keeper that, in terms of our past great keepers, the keeper that he's most like for me is actually Van der Sar, where he does all the basics very well, and you don't even notice him for large parts of the game, and there's no thrills. He just does everything that you'd want from a goalkeeper really well. Um, yeah, he just does all the fundamentals that you want from your keeper. And he's not. It's not like De Gea who's having to make ridiculous saves all the time, and with cat-like reflexes. He's not like Peter Schmeichel. He's not. He doesn't have that. He's not as big as him. He's absolutely massive guy who's absolutely brilliant at saving one-on-ones and making impossible saves. And Van der Sar was almost like a boring United keeper, which is I mean that as a compliment,
I
where he,
agree. Totally agree. Yeah, compliment. Absolutely.
where he does everything so well that you just expect it of him, and then you don't even notice him. Like when Van der Sar was United's keeper, there was one season, I think it was the 08-09 season, where he kept like 12 or 13 clean sheets in a row, and it was a Premier League record. And in those games, you probably weren't even noticing he was even there because he did all the basics so well, and that's what Lamez reminds me of at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Funny, before you said the name Van der Sar, I kind of knew that's what you were going to say because I was thinking exactly the same. Yeah, that's exactly who he reminds me of as well. Just no frills, does all the basics really well. Yeah, Schmeichel would have been a big dominant character too, wasn't he? He was always shouting in the back line and stuff like that. Lamens obviously isn't that. He's young anyway, and he's only in. But yeah, he's just that's it, solid. You don't notice him. He's not making clangers. He's not missing things like, oh, he should have got to that. You're pretty much going, oh yeah, no, he saved that one. That was good, and he should have done, and he did. And yeah, and the keeper needs to come out there and collect that, and he comes out and he collects it. You're never going, oh, why did he not do this, or oh, I can't believe he missed that. Like with Onana, you were going, oh, flip me, no, why did he do this? Why did he do that? That's definitely not the case with him. Yeah, he's brilliant. He's solid. I remember when they bought him, I think the chat in the media, or maybe it was the club put it out, I think, was that, oh, he's one for the future. He's not going to come in now. And we were all going, well, I think he might need to come in now. And I hope he comes in now. And he has come in now. And like you said, Kai, straight in at the deep end. And he's just looked like he's been there for years, looks assured and relaxed and confident. And yeah, he's been wonderful.
Yeah, and when there's a shot straight at him, he holds it and he doesn't spill it out in front of him and gives
Exactly.
an opportunity for an easy tap in. How many times have we seen Bayendier and Onana do that over the last couple of
Yeah,
years?
far too
So
often.
it makes a massive difference. It's getting us results. In fact, if he'd have been here at the start of the season, we could have even more points right now. I think we were fourth at the end of the day yesterday. I haven't checked the table today. That might have changed, but we could be as high as second if Le Mans had been there at the start. Arsenal wouldn't have beat us at Old Trafford because, as you everybody will remember, Bayern just gifted them that goal from the corner. That wouldn't
Yeah,
have happened. And other sloppy mistakes that were made against Brentford and Burnley. We won the Burnley game anyway, but yeah, the Brentford game by India was shocking in that match, and if Lemans was there, it could have been a different story. Um, yeah, hard to believe he's only 23 and has had one full season in Belgian football, and he's come in and he's been fantastic. And yeah, and apparently we haven't seen this yet, but he has a great record of saving penalties as well. So I look forward to that whenever we need him to do that. And
yeah,
yeah, he just does everything really well, and of course the distribution too. Now in all three of the games, he's been mostly asked to go long, and he can do that with both his right and left foot. He can pick Shesko out from long range, and I know at Anfield he was kind of just picking out the Liverpool defenders, and the tactic there was for them to head it back, you know, and United would win the second balls. But yeah, he couldn't have started any better in my opinion. And obviously the goal from the corner, there's nothing you could do about that. That was just shocking Morgan,
yeah,
and the young Greek fella was able to just have a free header there.
yeah.
Um, yeah, really, really a good performance by United. Scoring 4 goals. When's the last time we scored 4 goals in a game? I mean, it's like if somebody could tell me in the comments, because I have absolutely no idea the last time we scored that many goals in a game.
No,
Probably could have scored more because Chesko, as I said, missed a chance. When Bumo hit the outside of the post with an opportunity, and there's probably more. Yeah, and you know what? So many times in the last couple of years where United have lost games, and I felt as though the opposition was actually really poor, and that said something about us that we lost to a team that weren't even that good. But I actually felt we beat a good team yesterday. I'm not just basing that on Brighton's results in other games. I'm basing on what I watched yesterday. When Brighton were in possession, they moved the ball around really well, very slick, and as you see, they've got players capable of scoring goals, and they look like a real attacking threat whenever they get going. They had good spells yesterday, and so even in all three of the games that we've won on the trot, we beat the team that's currently in second. We've beat the current champions away from home, and we beat a team that will give anyone a game in Brighton and Hove Albion. So these are not games against relegation fodder that we've been winning. We've been beating good teams, and that's really pleasing, isn't it?
100%. Absolutely, Kyle. Yeah, totally agree. That's it. It doesn't feel like a false dawn anymore. It feels like we are actually playing well and able to do well against good teams. Yeah, I know that the Liverpool result was a massive result, and people are talking about it as like a kind of a turning point. And I get that partly because we hadn't won at Anfield for so long, and it's Liverpool, and that's always like a cup final, and Amarim had a difficult start to the season, but I think somebody had said before that game that actually Liverpool were actually a team who was getting results, actually not really playing very well. And United had been a team who weren't always getting results, but actually starting to play a little bit better. So yeah, I think it has been coming, and I think that it looks like it's continuing, at least for now, which is brilliant. Yeah, Brighton have been a bogey team for us for a long time. Like you said, I think it was 6 out of the 7 games that they'd won. So I mean, yeah, there are no slouches. They're a well drilled team. They've got good quality, as they showed yesterday. They have quality, and we did really, really, really well to win that game. And we look pretty sure doing it.
And composedness actually is a word. I've just found it in the Collins Dictionary, so I'm very pleased about that.
You didn't make that one up, Ken. I was going to cry. I thought it was a good word. I was going to credit you with making up a word there. So yeah, fair enough.
um, Yeah, and Casemiro had a good game yesterday. Now, a lot of people, and I am the same. I felt as if his career he's kind of in the autumn of his career now, and perhaps I thought that he no longer belonged in the Premier League because he seemed off the pace. But in fairness, and Amarim touched on this as well. He said that you know a year ago he was behind Toby Collier in the packing order, and he wasn't getting a look in, and now he's the first choice defensive midfielder again, and that's because of the hard work that he's put in behind the scenes. And yesterday he got a goal and assist, albeit he was quite fortunate to be credited with that goal because I thought it was going wide and hit the
Oh, it's
defender's
going wide.
ass and
It was
wrong footed
definitely going
goalkeeper.
wide. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
and
going
he
wide.
got the assist for Kuna's goal, and he he played really well. He was pushing very high up the pitch. He likes to get involved in the attacking side of things. He doesn't just like to mop up defensively. And what's happened at the minute is that he's playing 60 or 70 minutes, and then he's been taken off and rested. And that's a good way to manage him, I feel, given that he's 33, nearly 34. And as long as he doesn't get an early booking, I think we can rely on him.
I think so too. And the other thing as well, Kyle, is I think that it's partly down to the system and the players around him now are actually, not like you said earlier about Hoyland. The pressure's not on him. There was times in the past where it seemed like our system was set up to put pressure on the two guys in midfield, and sometimes coming down to Casemiro, pressure on his own, and he wasn't able to cope with it. He didn't have the legs to cope with it anymore. And the fact that I think that the way the system is now set up, with everybody, tucking in whenever we're not in possession to try and win the ball back, and he's not on his own, and he's not getting exposed. Whenever the other team has the ball, the way he had been at times previously, means that he can have a role in the team. The thing, obviously, is that you can never forget is that we all know the quality that he has in his brain, let alone what his body can do. That guy has played at the absolute pinnacle of world and European football. We all know that. So he has got the quality. And it seems like for now they're managing to use his quality and minimize his weaknesses. And while that continues, yeah, there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing. So for now, it's definitely all good. But he's definitely, that shot was going wide 100%. But you take your luck when you get it.
Definitely. And then when Ugarte came on, you see a massive drop off. He made one good standout tackle that I remember, but the rest of the time that he was in possession, he was really poor, and he was getting beat quite easily. Whenever somebody was trying to take the ball around him, somebody went past him like he wasn't there, and then his passing was really sloppy. Yeah, and yeah, Xerxes looked off it. Menu looked off it as well. We all know Menu has the quality, but when he has no match rhythm, he can be quite sloppy. It's hard, when you're only getting minutes here and there to produce your best form. When he's no rhythm, and we're seeing that I think that really helped Brighton. And apart from Welbeck obviously scoring the free kick, but we really lost our momentum whenever all the subs came on. I felt. We went from 3-0 up to 3-2, and like when Boom scored at the end to make life a wee bit easier for us because it was getting a bit because we're getting pinned back almost at that stage. When it was 3-2
Yeah.
and we're getting a bit worried. But yeah, the massive drop off when the subs came on, partly because they're not of the same quality that we have on in the starting 11, and partly because in Manu's case he doesn't have any match rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to come to a couple of wee comments here. Uh, Dara Derry says Baliba won't be replacing Casemiro anytime soon. He's been shocking this season. Yeah, he was. I think he was. I remember him being booked yesterday, Baliba, for uh, during one of our attacks. He took somebody down. I can't remember who it was, and I know he's had a really poor start to the season. I think the previous Brighton game last weekend, I think he improved, but yesterday he didn't really impress me. I mean, he had a shot yesterday that was well off target, and it's kind of a red flag, really, that if just being linked to Man United is going to throw you off your form, what's it going to be like when you come to United and you're getting lots of criticism when you're not performing? So that's a bit of a worry. So maybe we might need to look elsewhere, but we'll see how it goes. And just one more comment I want to come to. Yeah, I mentioned about the fact that if Lemans had been there at the start of the season, we might be further up the table. Well, this is a good point that Niall Healy makes. He says that the two Bruno penalties which he missed, if he had scored them, we'd be top of the league. So you add in Lemaine's in August. Bruno scores a couple of penalties which he missed against Brentford and Fulham. United could be top. This is amazing, really. We were talking about a crisis about 3 weeks ago. Now United are in the Champions League spots, and we're almost dreaming of doing a Leicester.
Doing a Leicester, I love that. Absolutely love that. I love that analogy. And it shows how far we had fallen that we were considering ourselves in Leicester territory. But yeah, no, I totally agree though. Yeah, and I think yeah, there is an argument that we're a bit unlucky with Cunha getting injured early in the season. There is, you could go back and look at that and say, that did scupper the plans. And how good he's been and the difference that he has made would feed into that. That actually, we really needed him and we didn't have him. So I think that maybe, yeah, we were all maybe premature in calling the crisis, although it definitely looked like a crisis. And I think Amar himself felt like it was a crisis. Yeah, I noticed as well yesterday, it made me slightly nervous, but kind of made me laugh too. How anxious he looked towards the end of the game, thinking that we were going to go and do our usual. And whenever Mbumo scored, he didn't even look happy; he just looked relieved, like the pressure had been taken off him. It was like, oh, thank God, kind of thing. Which kind of says it all, really, about what he's going through in his mind. But yeah, I feel like I said there, I feel like we are gaining some momentum. You never want to speak too soon, but yeah, small margins, like you said, there the things could have went our way, and I think Cunha not getting injured would have made a difference. But thankfully, he's back, and let's hope that he can stay fit, and yeah, and other key players stay fit. And you just never know what's going to happen. But again, I don't want to speak too soon. But yeah, it's looking pretty good.
And as Niall says, we had probably the toughest start of the season since Moyes was manager. I remember he had all the big boys in the first couple of months, and we played last season's top four in our first 8 matches. Okay, we won two and lost two, which is decent given where we're coming from, and we've come through that unscathed. And even in one of the games we lost against Arsenal, okay, we were horrendous against City, no excuses there. But against Arsenal, we probably deserved a lot more from the game, to be honest. And it was one mistake from the goalkeeper that led to Arsenal's goal. And we won at Anfield. We beat Chelsea at home, and we've come through that. Now we've got a nicer run of fixtures. Now, there's no easy games in the Premier League, but we've definitely got a lot more winnable games coming up after Brighton. So we've got Forest away, we've got Tottenham away, which obviously could be a difficult game. And then I think we've got Everton at home, and then we've still got to play the likes of Wolves and West Ham and all coming up. There's a chance for us to really go on a run here. I'm not expecting United to go on a 10-game winning run or anything like that, but we could go on a nice unbeaten run, hopefully, and keep ourselves up there near the top, and hopefully that guy can finally get a haircut.
I think we're all going to be happy, really happy for that lad when he manages to get his haircut. Absolutely, yeah. It's finally looking like it might actually happen. Yeah, I completely agree, Kyle. I think we've actually done really well, given the teams that we've had to play, and just looking actually at the table in front of me here and the form, and that we actually have the only other teams that have better form than us in terms of winning their most recent games is Arsenal and Aston Villa, who've won their last four, and we've won our last three. So, I mean, at the moment, it's looking really, really good. And as you said there, we've got what you would consider to be winnable games coming up against teams in the sort of the bottom half of the table, notably ones towards the very bottom, who really haven't had a great start. So, like you said, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and Wolves. So, yeah, I just don't want to speak too soon because we've things have just not been as consistent in the last couple of years as we know than we would like them to be. But it really does feel like this could be a wee bit of a run. But let's see.
Yeah, so far so good. Like yourself, I don't want to get carried away too soon because of the awful experiences that we've had in the last 10 years, to be honest. But 3 wins in a row is massive. To get over that hurdle of two wins in a row after nearly a year in charge was huge, and to do it at Anfield was like the perfect fixture to do it in, and we've made it 3 now, and away to Forest, I have to go make it 4. And I know they've changed their manager yet again, and they got a bit of a bounce by winning in the Europa League against Porto, but they've lost to Bournemouth away today, which you'd expect them to, because Bournemouth are a good team. But this will be Sean Dyche's first home league match again, when we play them on Saturday. But you like to think of the quality we have now, and we've got a secure goalkeeper. It seems that we should go there and win, shouldn't we?
You would think so. Yeah, you're right. Like you said there, Kyle. They obviously got a new manager in, and they did get a wee bit of a bounce during the week. And yeah, obviously Sean Dyche, he's a good manager, and you'll expect him to try and make it really a really difficult game. We're not going to roll over, but they're still where they are for a reason. And yeah, and the quality that we have currently, and given the teams that we've beaten, like we just spoke about already this season, you would think that we should go there and get the win. Yeah, so I mean, it would be fairly confident. But again, I just don't want to scot us by saying too much and being too confident too soon. But yeah, you would like to think we can go and win that.
Yeah, I'm not at the point where I'm expecting United just to beat most teams and get 3 points most weeks, but I do have a lot more confidence than I did 3 weeks ago. I'm you know I'm 70% confident that United will beat Forest, but I'm not quite at the 99% yet. When we're in our heyday, when we were going into games against that level of opposition, we were just thinking this is going to be another day at the office. We'll just go here, and if we don't tank this team, even if we play badly, we'll score 1 or 2 at the end of the game and win the match. We're not quite there yet, but the more we win, then the closer we'll get to that point as fans. So go ahead. Were you going to say
No, I
something?
was just going to say, yeah, you're right. I don't think we'll have that luxury just yet. We're definitely not in that territory. And I would argue that, like you said there, Kyle, there is no real easy games in the Premier League now anyway. I would argue that even the teams at the top, bar maybe, the form that Liverpool and Man City had in recent years where you almost expected them to win every week. Bar that, kind of no team can really expect to win any game easily anyway. So, yeah. But it would be nice for us to be a bit more confident, and I feel like we're getting there. But yeah, look, we should win, but who knows?
Yeah, Ryan asks, is second realistic? Because he says with Bournemouth and Sunderland in the top 4, who you'd expect probably to fall out of the top 4 at some point, particularly Sunderland, and with City and Liverpool struggling. City, I think, lost to Villa today, which is a bit of a shock. And Liverpool lost their 4th game in a row against Brentford last night. I can hear all the cheering in the background. And Arsenal are very strong. They look favourites for the title at the moment. So Ryan asks, is second realistic? Now, as much as I've been dreaming about that, I don't think we're quite there yet in terms of our thinking. If we win 5 in a row, I will start to dream of finishing second, but I'm not at that point just yet. If we beat Forest and Spurs, then I'll start thinking that, you know what, United could finish second, because most of our rivals for the top 5 are going to be playing European football. In fact, all of them will be. Whereas United have, as you touched on earlier, Amorim has most weeks he's going to have 7 days on the training pitch to prepare for each game and each opponent, and it seems to be working at the moment. So if we go to 5 in a row, then I start to dream of second. But yeah, Ryan, I don't think we're quite there yet. Would you agree, Chris?
Yeah. I would. Like I said, Kyle, my heart tells me, yeah, this is looking good. I would love to see us go on a run. And I feel like, oh yeah, anything's kind of possible. But that is it. I think it's just that let's be a wee bit cautious. We've been up and down before. It does feel different this time. I definitely feel like it's more positive than it has been. But it is really hard to say. But Niall, I think made a good point in the chat there about some of the teams that are playing each other coming up. So yeah, and Liverpool are not playing well. Villa are playing well. Yeah, also to say about Villa and their form, they've won four on the bounce, including beating Man City and beating Spurs, both who are traditionally Spurs sitting third at the moment, and City had been doing obviously reasonably well, and it's City. So yeah. So there's still some tough games in there. Some teams who are going to be pushing for high positions like Villa and others as well. So it's not going to be easy. But yes, absolutely. If we keep this form up, yeah, absolutely. Second is realistic, but once again, if we keep the form up, just cautious at the moment, I suppose.
Yes, Niall, next week could be massive because, as you've said, Spurs playing Chelsea, Liverpool against Villa, City against Bournemouth. A lot of teams going to drop points there around us, and gives us a chance to get further up the table by beating Forest away. So yeah, but even if we do that, we're moving into Spurs away, which is always a difficult fixture for United. I think we lost 4 times to Spurs last season. So again, but we're putting things right this year. We hadn't won an Anfield in 10 years. We almost never beat Brighton, and we've done that in the last 2 games. So let's go get revenge on Tottenham for last season. Obviously losing in the League Cup, losing in the Europa League final, did the double over us in the league. So we really owe Tottenham one. So I'd love to go and win that game, to be honest. But it won't be easy.
It definitely won't be, but their form, at the minute in the league, anyway, just because I happen to have it in front of me here, it's not Spurs form. It is not wonderful. So the drew against Brighton, who we obviously just beat, and we look pretty convincing against. They also drew against Wolves, who are rock bottom of the table, and we managed to draw at home against Wolves, one each, low scoring game, and they obviously just got beat by Villa, but Villa are playing well. Yeah, and Leeds. Yeah, they beat Leeds and they beat West Ham. You expect them to beat West Ham. West Ham are second from bottom, so their form isn't absolutely wonderful. Not again to get carried away, but yeah, I wouldn't say that they're playing extremely well. We're certainly got the form. Yeah, so I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm absolutely frightened of that game, but like we say, Kyle, it's still going to be a really tough game, and yeah, all bets are kind of off in
Well,
some ways.
they're currently 2-0 up against Everton away from home, and Mickey van der Ven has scored twice. He's a defender. He's a massive threat. When we play Tottenham, we're going to have to make sure he's well marshalled because, yeah, I remember him last season at Old Trafford bursting right down the middle, and Ugarte couldn't get anywhere near him, and he created a top in for Brennan, Brennan Johnson. So yeah, he's a massive threat from set pieces, and he can carry the ball. I think he plays left back for the Dutch national team. Yeah, he's something. It's strange saying that the defender is their biggest threat, but he kind of is, you know.
True.
Uh, but yeah, I'm going to get on to the player ratings now, which I'm really looking forward to again. Um, so Samuel Lamens, definite 7. Couldn't couldn't do anything about the goal from the corner. The free kick would have been harsh to expect him to keep that out. It wouldn't go down as a mistake. And otherwise, he did everything exceptionally well. So it'd be 7. And I think I'll make it easy here. The straight 7 for the entire back line as well of Delict, Laniaro, and Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw even got credited with an assist in this game, which he'd be pleased about. And Delict, I just love how aggressive he is in his defending, um, and he's very very composed on the ball. He looks like a leader out there, and he's played. I think he's played every minute of every game so far, and he looks like captain material. He's really come on leaps and bounds. Had a bit of a mixed start to his United career, but now he's just consistently good every week, which is really really pleasing to see. Um, and so 7 for Diallo as well. Some might argue he should have had a penalty. Is looked really dangerous, linking up really well with Mbumo, even though it's a bit unorthodox where they're both left-footed out there. Ideally, you probably want your right wing back to be right-footed, but he's making it work at the moment, and he worked his socks off as well. He's not getting any goals or assists because he's playing further back, and that's what I mean by sacrificing himself for the team, which is always something that we like in a player's character. And midfield, Casemiro goal and assist, even though still, still a known goal in my opinion, but still, yeah, he was given the goal, and Kuna was quick to credit him for the assist after the game for his goal, and another solid performance in the middle, and so I give him an 8. Uh, Bruno Fernandes, yeah, Aiden Haven will get the assist on the stats, but we all know from watching it that it was more of a Bruno assist than anything else because it was a dummy. But I think Bruno proved that stats don't always tell the story yesterday. Um, and yeah, he was magnificent as well. Apparently he made the most tackles on the pitch yesterday, and he had the most shots, I think, and created the most chances, which is just absolutely unbelievable. It just showed you that he was just an all rounder yesterday. Um, yeah, so I give him a 7.5. Diogo Dallo, always the weak link, but I could see why he's playing ahead of Dorgu. Dorgu was a bit sloppy when he came on. Uh, Dallo was all he he takes a decent long throw, not quite at the level of Brentford with the long throws, but he's almost more likely to get a goal or an assist than Dorgu. Dorgu's still quite raw. There's a lot to learn. I can see why he's not starting every game. But Dallo, of course, is very, very passive with his defending. He doesn't get close enough to close people down. He always backs off and allows the cross to come in. And we've seen that where when Lemens had to tip the cross around the post. Um, so Dallo, I'll give him a 6. So the front line, I mean, Mambumo has to be a 9 when you get 2 goals. Yeah. Uh, he's just become the talisman for United, and he was excellent, as we've talked about. And Kuna, absolutely brilliant. The goal was quality. He never scored a top in, and I think he never scored a top in his career. Remember the goal I showed you when we were down in Dublin one day, and I was showing you and Gavin the video of the goal he scored for RB Leipzig against Bayer Leverkusen. We done the Marseille roulette, and then he chipped it over the keeper. Oh, absolutely
Sensational.
unreal.
That's the quality he's got. I heard a stat. I think it was yesterday. At some point, can't remember if it was during the game or maybe after the game or something. About I think it's something like he scored the most goals in the Premier League from outside the box or something in the last. I'm not sure what the time period was. But yeah, like you said, Kylie, he doesn't do it by half. He scores absolute peaches. Yesterday was just an unbelievable finish. I think what I was the most impressed about was the ball. It was actually really tight. He had 2 defenders quite really close to him. One on his right hand side, and then one in front of him, the one that he bent it around. If that first touch is not absolutely perfect, he's not getting that shot away, or that shot's getting blocked. It was just absolutely perfect positioning to be able to bend that around the defender. Just great, just unbelievable skill. Really, really top quality.
Yeah, so he gets an 8 out of 10, and Benjamin Sesko, I give him a 7 because of his. He done most things really well without scoring, and unfortunately missed that opportunity. But I'm really pleased with what he's doing without the ball and with the ball when he comes deep, and he's winning flick-ons. He's holding the ball up well, and he has nice feet, and his passing is pretty decent. So a lot more to come from him, but yeah, he's doing okay at the moment. Um, yeah, and as I said, the substitutes kind of brought down the quality of United and helped Brentford or helped Brighton get back in the game. And some of it's down to match rhythm, and some of it's down to the players are just not up to it. And I think when we get back into Europe, which hopefully it's going to be this season, um, we're going to, we're going to need a core of about 17 or 18 players that are worth a starting berth. I don't think we're quite there yet. I know we had Mason Mount on the bench. He didn't use him because he had a knock and didn't want to take any risks when he didn't need to. And he had Manu, who on his day is well capable of being a starter for United. Um, but most of the bench isn't really of the quality of the starting 11. But when we get into Europe, we're going to need a stronger squad because you're going to need to rotate. and right now we have a core of about maybe 13 players who are worthy of a starting place. We're going to need a core of about 18 once we get back into the Champions League. Chris, would you agree?
Yeah, totally agree, Kyle. That's exactly it. It's funny, saying about not having any Champions League football. I think when you have that in a squad that is top quality, and has lots of strength and depth, that becomes a problem because you've got really good players who you're trying to pick between, and you can't give them game time. In a sense, where we don't kind of have that problem in that actually the squad isn't really deep enough in terms of the quality. And in fact, like you said there, Kyle, we've kind of just got enough with subs to be strong with our starting 11 and our sort of starting Premier League games. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. I think if we're going to be next season, hopefully back in European football, we'd probably still need a couple of top class players who we can bring on from the subs bench. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I'm a big fan of Mino. I think on his day he's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and yeah, so if he can be match fit, he's a wonderful option. But the others, yeah, I think there's still a bit to be desired. I noted your point about Dorgu as well and Dallo. I noted it because I found myself a couple of times last night for me in your camp, Kyle. Normally I sort of give a wee bit of credit to Dallo. And I do think he's got some attributes, but I agree with you, his defending was frustrating. But what was frustrating me even more was him trying to take the ball forward and having shots from outside the box. And I know on the very odd occasion he can score one. And maybe when we were desperate, I was grateful for it. But now with the quality we have up top, I'm thinking just pass the ball, mate. Just give it to the guys who are going to get the goals. Forget about it. So that was kind of frustrating me slightly. But I agree with you, Dorgu. I've not been sold on at all. Even whenever we were bad, I wasn't sold on him, and I'm even, now where the squad's looking well, I'm thinking he's a bit of a liability. So yeah, I can see why Dallo starts ahead of him. But I think if the Dallo can just settle in his mind now to say we don't need your forward attributes anymore, Diogo, we've got players who can do that. Just you stick to the defending, son, and let the quality players do their thing. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, we've seen what Dallo can bring. He's about 25 now, and he's been at the club 7 years. I don't think he's going to improve at this stage. This is the best Dallo that we're ever going to see. With Dorgu's concerned, he's still only 20. He's only been in the club about 10 months, and willing to give him a wee bit more time to develop. But he shouldn't be our first choice whenever he's only a developing player, and that's probably why he's been left out recently. Because there's still a lot of rough edges to smooth off. But I don't know if anybody's seen it. The reserves yesterday were playing Tottenham at Lee Sports Village, and Diego Leon ran from his own half, bullied players out of the way, and then scored with his left foot. And I seen him score that type of goal in South America when I was watching clips of him before he signed for United, and so that's really promising. He's not quite ready for the Premier League, and you wouldn't expect him to be coming straight from Paraguay to play for Man United. It's always going to be a bed-in period, but seeing him, you know, playing in the English Reserve League against a big club like Tottenham, and just the way he just burst through the middle of Tottenham's defence. He started off in the end of the left back area, burst through the middle of Tottenham's defence and scored with his right foot past the keeper. And he was a big, strong lad. He was shouldering people out of the way during that run as well. I'm thinking once he's ready for the Premier League, and he could be a real asset for United. But he's just obviously he needs to you know play a bit more in the reserve league and put in a few more performances like that, and then he might get his opportunity in the FA Cup or something, and we'll see how it goes. But I think he potentially might have a higher ceiling than Dorgu.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Yeah, yeah. I have to confess, Kyle, I just about have time to watch the first team games, let alone watch reserve team games these days. So I haven't managed to see that yet. But yeah, yeah, sounds like he did really well, and definitely he sounds really promising. So yeah, you'll be see what the future brings, kind of thing. But yeah, it sounds good.
And Nell here says, imagine if Garnacho, Sancho, and Rasmus were up front, we'd be 17th right now. That's a bit harsh.
Hard to
But
argue, all the same. Hard to argue.
um, African Cup of Nations, that's right, comes up in December, January period, and that means we're going to lose our whole right hand side with Ahmad and Mbumo going. Um, so those are going to be big gaps to fill during that period. So I'm not even
Good
sure
point.
who's going to come in there. I mean, Dalla will obviously probably come in at right wing back, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I suppose you had to move Bruno further forward and play Manu in midfield. I suppose that's the way around it. I suppose. Um, and so squad players, yeah, going to need to get up to speed. I agree with that, but there's not much opportunity for them to get up to speed because they're only getting minutes here and there. They're not. There's no midweek matches really. Uh, yeah, so it's a bit of a concern really, but we're not worried about that at the moment. We're doing well at the moment, so we'll not think about the Christmas period just yet. But Amarim, yeah, he definitely gets an 8 out of 10. I gave him a 9 last week because it was Liverpool, but definitely deserves an 8 this week. Uh, Suddenly, the decisions he's making are coming off. His tactics are working a treat, and yeah, it wasn't. It was only a month ago we're thinking that we're seeing we're seeing him trying the same things that are not working, and he's not changing it. And we're thinking that's the sign of a manager who's on the way out. But suddenly everything's clicking, and things have just it's just been a 180 turn, and like I watched Carragher's analysis of what happened at Anfield, where some of us, the fans, were frustrated of Lamaine's playing the long balls to nobody because Shesko wasn't there. But that was that Amarim wanted him to do that because Van Dijk and Konate were just going to head it back into midfield, and our target was to get 5 in a very narrow area, and then they'd win the second balls, and that's what they did a lot of the time. So, and that was a clear tactic, and it worked. So, and who would have expected a Portuguese manager to come to the Premier League and play long balls? But that's what he's done, and it's great to see that he's willing to try things.
Yeah.
And they're coming off at the moment.
Because that was the thing, wasn't it? We were saying that he was just being completely rigid to his way of playing and not willing to kind of try anything, and he has, and that's brilliant. And like you said, Kyle, things seem to be panning out for him now. Yeah, and that tactic of playing the ball long and not actually expecting you to win the ball as such, but win the second ball, as it was a clear tactic, and it worked an absolute treat. And the team were obviously switched on to that's what was going to happen, so they were absolutely on it for the second balls every time, and it worked really well. And it was just an added bonus that Arnie Slock got all frustrated about it and started complaining. That just made it all the sweeter. But yeah, Amarim is things are seeming to work for him right now. You would say that the players that have been recruited, so Lamans and Bumo and Cunha, and Chesko as well. If we never know, or I'm always skeptical about who's doing the recruitment at Man United and who's to blame and who's to credit for players coming in. But those players that have come in this year absolutely seem to have worked. And now that he's able to just to avail of them all, where say obviously earlier in the season he didn't have Cunha, it all seems to be working. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, absolutely. And Derry here says, uh, let's hope Onana throws a few in the African Cup of Nations and Mbeumo comes back early on.
There's a very good chance that's going to happen. All right.
Yeah, but apparently he's doing well in Turkey. He's got a couple of man of match awards, and but long may it continue because I want Trabzonspor or Galatasaray or Fenerbahce or someone to buy him at the end of the season. And there's no
Exactly.
way
Yeah.
he's going to play another game for United.
Hopefully not.
Um,
Hopefully not. Yep. Long may it continue is right, and he gets a wee move over there, and he can gladly stay.
Yeah, and yesterday was the the first time that all 4 of the major signings started in the same match. So we ended up scoring 4 goals and winning 4-2. So I think that's want to see a lot more of that because you know last season was absolutely terrible. It was horrendous. So the, we obviously wanted to see the new signings come into the team straight away because they're obviously the players are going to make the most difference whenever you've had a bad season. And look at that. The first time they all play together, we scored 4 goals. And
Yep.
so that's
Unbelievable.
massive. But it shows you the difference they're making because 7 of the players are players from last season. Majority of the team is still the same squad from last year. Only 4 new players, and one of them's a goalkeeper. Yet it's making a massive difference. It just shows you how good Mbeumo and Kuna are. Long may it continue.
Unbelievable. world of difference, and that's the thing as well, isn't it? You know, they end up making everybody else around them look better and play better. Like they're Fernandez being the example. Amarim talking about how Fernandez needs to be easier on his teammates. Basically, a roundabout way of saying Fernandez has got in his mind really high standards and plays to really high standards, and he's sick of watching people around him let it all fall to pieces. Now he's looking around him and going, I'm gonna do this dummy. And Bumo's going to get on the internet. He's going to rocket it into the net rather than it losing the ball or not reading the dummy or whatever might have happened previously. So yeah, that's it. Things that maybe wouldn't have come off before because things were breaking down because of lack of quality in the squad. Players like Fernandez now know I'm going to play this pass, and that actually now will result in a goal. So it's I think it's just lifted everything and everybody.
Yeah, they've been game changers on exactly what we needed, and credit has to go to the recruitment. Definitely got it right on this occasion. Um, been an absolute pleasure as always, Chris. Great to have you on, and please everybody smash a like in the video if you're watching on YouTube. It helps us get the podcast out there. Um, Subscribe to the podcast while you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, and get more of your comments in. Really enjoyed all your comments today, guys. Thank you for participating. And Chris, great to have you on.
Thanks, Kai. Great to be on as always, and nice to be on after a win. So yeah, cheers, mate. See you soon.
All right, I'll see you later.
Take care.